Alright, so as you're working through this Unit 4.2, looking at inverse functions, what the textbook started off and did was it kind of gave you this idea of, like, if you have two functions, how do you establish if they are inverses? And so that was the composition functions where you plug one inside the other and come out with x. Where the other way around would be is if I just gave you a function and said, well, tell me what the inverse is. So in this case here, we start off with the function f of x, which remember that that is the same thing as y equals. And so we just go ahead and switch that over. So from function notation to just a regular equation. At this point, what we want to do to be able to find the inverse is that we have a couple steps. First thing we do is we interchange the x and the y. So now this becomes x equals 2y plus 3. So literally all I was doing was switching the x and the y, because this is part of the process to find the inverse. Once I've switched the x and the y, then I solve my implicit equation for y. Well, this is my implicit equation. So what they're saying is now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to solve this thing for y. My 3's cancel. I get x minus 3 is equal to 2, y. The inverse of multiplying is to divide. And so, oops, sorry about that. So at this point, I come back on myself here and I have y is equal to x minus 3 over 2, which translates into this notation f to the negative 1 power, or f inverse of x. And so that basically translates into that is my inverse. So that's how we find the inverse of a linear function. Let's go take a look at finding the inverse of maybe a quadratic or a cubic function. So let's go ahead and we'll do this guy instead, and then you can see that this one would be worked very similar. Alright, so same process. We reestablish this is y equals 4x cubed plus 2. We switch our x and our y, so now it becomes x equals 4y cubed plus 2. And we start solving. Minus 2, minus 2. The 2's cancel. I get x minus 2 is equal to 4y cubed. The inverse of multiplying is to divide, so I divide by 4. My 4's cancel. I get y cubed is equal to x minus 2 over 4. Now, if you think back through this semester and the things that we've done so far, you'll remember that what we want to do in this case here is to get rid of the third power, we would take the third root. So we'd third root both sides, which then takes me to my final solution. My root and my power cancel. I get y is equal to the third root of x minus 2 over 4, which remember that is equal to f inverse of x. That's my inverse. Alrighty, so that's how we would take an equation and find the inverse, the process, and you get a chance to play around with that a little bit inside of your homework.